June 25th, and we've got a little bit more of that June this morning. I'll tell you about the weather in just a moment on our show today. Bill Walsh is here, and he is from Third Mutual. It's going to give us an update and a rundown on what's going on in Third. Also, we have a couple guests from the Alzheimer's Family Center. Now, that is located up in, I think it's Huntington Beach area, but they're here to talk about specifically their Mind and Memory program at Mission Hospital. We're also going to bring you a segment from the Orange County Fire Authority as well as BreastLink. Now, as far as meetings go today, there are a couple of meetings. Third has their Architectural Controls and Standards Committee in the Sycamore at 9:30. And then they have another meeting later on, a special meeting where they're going to be interviewing candidates for the VMS board to represent Third. That will be in the boardroom at 1:30. Now let's get to the weather, and this pattern just is going to continue this week as we've had for really the last couple of weeks. We get that June gloom morning, then it gives way to a wonderful midday and afternoon in the early evening, and the fog kind of rolls back in around 7:30 or so. And the only difference is, once again, a little difference in the temperatures depending how much fog is out there. Now, there is a high pressure system that's sitting off our coast. It's really sort of centered off the coast of San Diego, but it's not a real strong high. And because of where it is, it's actually doing two things. It's spinning some onshore breezes because they do spin clockwise, and then it kind of clocks around and has some offshore wind associated with it as well. But because of where it's at, that's why we're still getting all this fog in the morning. And you know, it's really kind of nice. You've seen we've had just beautiful days. You start off nice and cool in the morning, then you get pool weather, and then a nice cooling evening, and that's going to continue throughout this week. Taking a look around Orange County, and nothing much different from last week. Beach communities will be about 68, maybe to 70 degrees. Everywhere else, the upper 70s, the low 80s. Lake Arrowhead, 83. Palm Springs holding steady in the triple digits at 109, going down to 76 at night. So the pattern continues, and it looks like it continues all the way at least until next weekend. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Health is important, and it can be tough to find the best fit for your needs. Flora Stenger General and Specialty Dental Practice covers most of my dental needs in one location. Their on-staff specialists provide seamless services and communication between me, my doctors, and my insurance company. Located right down the road from Laguna Woods, our bus service stops right in front of their building. For the first time, I'm getting the dental care I need with the treatment I deserve.
And
my dental health has never been better. Call and book your first appointment today. I'm glad I did.
Hey Laguna Woods, it's Ken.
And Lisa.
Did you miss an episode of This Day? Not to worry. Head over to youtube.com and search Village Television.
Here you can find each episode of This Day and other community programs such as Good Day OC, Discovering Laguna Woods, and much more.
Just click the red subscribe button, then click the bell to be emailed every time we upload a video.
Don't miss out.
And subscribe today.
Managing your own medication can be stressful. For decades, we have watched you stand in line at your local pharmacy and battle with insurance companies, all to be left with the difficult task of organizing, managing, and remembering to take your medication. AmeriPharma offers a new way of simplifying the lives of you and your loved ones.
In previous years, I didn't require any prescriptions, but now I have to take about 7 or 8 due to various conditions. It's a management problem. My nurse told me about AmeriPharma's MedBox. I switched over. Boy, am I glad I did. It's really easy to use, and it's solved all my problems.
Get your medications delivered to your door. You'll receive your pre-sorted MedBox that easily allows you to tear and take the required medication regimen at the plainly printed date and time. AmeriPharma MedBox, the new standard in medication management.
And welcome back. With you right now from Third Mutual is Bill Walsh. Bill is the first vice president. He's here to report on several things that's going on in Third. Welcome. Nice to have you here today.
Well, glad to be back.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time I come and talk to you, about energy issues, but today I'm going to talk about all of the maintenance and construction issues and the initiatives that the board is on, because we are doing a lot.
Right.
I actually brought a list of the projects we're doing, and it numbers into the 30s that are going on.
Really? Wow.
And this is Third alone. You've got United, that's doing almost probably as many, and GRF has got a boatload of projects that they're working on. So we're keeping staff busy, and I just want people to know that there's a lot of work going on in the community. I think they see it. I think they're doing a lot of concrete work.
Right.
We really put an emphasis on concrete work in the community to get a lot of things that are deteriorating corrected.
But you're right. There's a lot going on, and
there is, and staff is working like crazy. And the boards are always bringing something new for them to do, or find a contractor to do it. I guess the first thing I'd like to talk about is the brush removal at the corner of Carlotta and Ridge Route.
Right.
That's become a safety issue because of the homeless population.
Right.
And all along that fence line, that wall that goes by there, are full-grown trees. There's brush, there's undergrowth. And so when security people from the village come through, it's on both sides of the wall.
Yeah.
They can't look through that foliage and see if there's anyone in there. It's a great hiding place.
Yeah.
And on the outside, it's actually an easement that was originally going to be the route of Ridge Route, but they changed it. So there's an easement through there that the city actually is responsible for. So we're going to clear all that out. Brad Hudson worked with Chris Macon of the city, and they gave us the go-ahead to be able to clean out that part of the brush on the city side. We just signed a contract. I think the Brightview, I think. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But a company that does a lot of work in the community. It's going to take about a month to clean this out. We're talking about hundreds of feet of brush along the fence.
Right.
And why we're going to do that first is, first of all, to allow security people to look in there, but to be able to see if anybody's in there. We've already taken couches and other things, or mattresses, out of that area. And once the brush is removed, we're going to be installing fencing that's going to be higher and more difficult to get through. We have gone round and round on the fencing because those walls in certain areas there's some 9-foot walls that are not a problem at all. They're more towards the Carlotta side, but then it drops down to 3-foot walls. And trying to figure out how you can put fencing on a 3-foot wall that's going to now it's going to be deterrent. It's not going to be a fail-safe, or it's not, we don't want to build a penitentiary look.
Right. And here's some footage that we're showing here of that area.
Okay. And so you can see the brush and stuff. So we can get it cleaned out.
Now, will most of those trees be removed too? Or are you looking?
They're gonna clean out stuff like this. This will all be cleaned out. The bigger trees will be either removed, and the dead ones are going to definitely be removed. And then they're going to bring the trees down and thin them out. So it's going to be like a big tree like that one there that's showing right now. That's probably going to be taken out.
Yeah.
So you can see that wall isn't very high.
No, it's not.
So we're gonna get that all cleaned out, so you can see from either side of the fence if anybody's lurking in there. Okay.
Very good.
And so that's a pretty major project for us. We're really trying to put a lot of emphasis on the safety of the community, which is a segue for me right into the walkway lighting over in gates 5 and 6. Right now, you have these little pagoda-style light fixtures that run along there for the most part into gates 5 and 6. We went out to bid, and we've chosen a bidder. I think they're writing up the contract now to put in about a 32-inch high bollard that spreads about a 10-foot radius lighting in there to try to light up the sidewalks. It's not the ultimate answer. We're going to be in there probably for the foreseeable future, extending the circuit so we can put more lighting, because the distances between some of these lights it's more like a beacon than it is really lighting up the sidewalk. So we're going to be hopefully that work starts sometimes this summer, late summer anyway, that we can get that going. This last week, I haven't checked with staff yet, but on the schedule, the company that did these trash chute cleanings in the 3-story buildings is supposed to begin the repair of the trash chutes. Apparently, some of the chutes themselves are in disrepair, and definitely the doors on many of the chutes. So there's 81 buildings that they're going to have to go through, and so it's going to take them a while, but it's something that's needed to be done. I mean, like a lot of other things, they're worn out in the community. Yeah. So they're going to do those. Dryer replacement in the laundry rooms, that's a big subject for a lot of people who live in 3-story buildings or in buildings where they use a standalone laundry room. We just had a meeting last week and we're going over the finances of that. And a lot of people don't realize, but the people in 3-story buildings pay a surcharge for dryer and washer replacement and water heater replacement in those laundry rooms. And they also pay for the replacement costs. Okay. Well, we got enough money in the budget to replace the dryers with more modern and commercial dryers. Okay. And we're looking at the numbers where how much we think we're going to probably charge 50 cents a dry. We don't know. We haven't figured out what kind of timing, whether we're going to do it for a quarter for 15 minutes or whatever, however we're going to do that. But we're running the numbers. We're having finance help us with that. And so we can reduce the surcharge on that for those folks. Address signs, big deal. If you ever try to drive around here at night, it's almost impossible to see. But the reality is that probably 98% of the people who drive around Laguna Woods drive around during the daytime. They come and visit their friends in the daytime. And finally, just after struggling with this, we had a lot of people involved in driving around 3rd Mutual, trying to figure out should we address it with cul-de-sac signs? How should we address it with building signs? We finally settled on. But you bring up a very good point, and there's 2 things that you have on your list here that, as long as I've been here, have always been on somebody's list. Yeah. The walkway lighting and the signage in general, but particularly the address signs. So we're going to put in gate 14 and over in gate 6 and the 212 cul-de-sac. Yeah. Some pretty good signs. The signs are probably going to be like this. I'm going to put them on buildings. Now, some residents and some of the board members have gone out and walked these areas to figure out what is the best place to place these signs. We've got people in 3-story buildings that have helped us. Even former board members have come forth to try to help to look at this situation. This is only the beginning, because we've still got to deal with cul-de-sac signs, and where to put them so they can be seen at night if you're driving along. So now, moving on, you also are forming, because you are going to talk about energy, you always do. Yeah, I know. The Energy Task Force. Right. I know. I know Bill. He's always going to. Right, exactly. You're going to sneak. You got my number. We are forming a village energy task force, and so we're going to suspend the 3rd Mutual Energy Committee. It was the only energy committee going, but now that GRF is starting to look at ways to save money on energy consumption, and United has always been there doing that, but since we decided that it would be better for the time and resources that staff has to have one meeting for the community rather than 3 separate meetings where they've got to sit through where staff has to sit through these meetings, and the resources for setting up agendas, writing meeting minutes. We would do one to combine all. And it's a task force because governing documents wouldn't really, the lawyers weren't real happy about 3rd kind of taking the lead on an energy committee and inviting in United and GRF. So once we got through those hurdles, we're going to set up, on the 5th of July, we're going to have a meeting on the charter, and set up a charter for this task force and go from there. But the idea is that we've all pretty much are in the process or have already hired energy consultants who can advise us.
Right.
And for third, the real issue for us that's on the top of our list is to have somebody go assess, particularly in the 3-story buildings, our energy needs, our energy. Look at the infrastructure the way it is today. Look at what we can do to improve it, and give us some ideas on what actions we can take. Okay, solar electricity production. We finally got staff to run some numbers for us on how much energy we're producing with those solar panels we put on the 12 buildings. They did a thorough examination of one building, which was about a normal size.
Yeah.
It was, you could call it the average installation size. Okay. We, through extrapolation, are probably going to save the community a little over $200,000 a year in electricity costs.
Oh, very
We're going
good.
to generate $200,000 a year for the next 25 to 40 years.
Yeah.
Those panels are that good, and they will stay in production for that long.
Very good.
So it's saving us money.
Yeah.
It's going to take us about 10 to 12. It's probably going to take us about 12 years to recoup the initial investment. But after that, it's all free electricity.
Yeah, very good.
I didn't put it on your list, but over the weekend we got an e-blast. I wasn't in town at the time, but it was brought to my attention yesterday that the Garden Villa breezeway pilot was shown in the e-blast, where we had put new carpeting in the breezeway of a Garden Villa building. Well, that's not what the breezeway pilot is. We actually, for safety reasons, because have you ever walked in the breezeway of a Garden Villa building?
Long time ago.
They put AstroTurf. I'll call it AstroTurf. You can show you my age, but I know what you're artificial
talking about.
turf.
Yeah.
And it's recessed about 1.5 inches from there, and we've always felt that it's a tripping hazard.
Yeah,
of
course.
If you're not watching what you're doing at night it was at night before the LED lights were put in the breezeways. It was treacherous to go up and to visit somebody at night in these. So the breezeway pilot was to fill those areas in with concrete, and they've done it in the 2384 building, the 2385 building, and they're about to do it in the 2386 building. And in the 2384, if anybody wants to go over and see that, it's already completed. We looked for dry rot and didn't find a lot. They put new screes in for drainage to make sure that we doesn't set up a moisture condition, and they've sealed it, and they've sealed it in 2 different colors. One color is for the walkways, and the other color directs residents of that building where they can put plants.
Yeah.
So
I remember. Well, I recall seeing that
right.
That you
so
folks had that
if anybody wants to go over the
presentation.
2384, I mean, don't disturb the residents there, but you can go up and have a look and see what it looks like with the new seal coat and everything.
Okay.
And then one last thing, the CPUC has okayed Third Mutual's purchase of the 788 light poles.
Okay.
And we're now engaging Siemens. They're going to be involved in guiding us through all the paperwork that Edison's going to throw at us. And then they're going to have to retag all those poles. I've said that before on those meetings. And then we'll start the process of taking them over and putting LED lighting in, and probably new fixtures on arms and different things like that.
All right, very good. So a lot of work going on.
A lot of work going on.
Yeah. Well, glad you could come on and update us.
It was a pleasure.
We appreciate it. And of course, all this, some of this stuff is going to take some time over the next few years. Some a lot less time, but that's just the nature of it.
It is.
Yeah.
We don't have a budget to do it all at once.
Yeah.
So we have to plan all this work, and staff has been very good at doing this. So we appreciate it.
Very good, Bill. Thanks.
You're
always
welcome.
good to see you.
Good to see you, Ken.
We'll be right back. It's interesting. I've always said, the way this
Mama used to.
In recent years, 3D mammography has come to our area, and we're very lucky that there are centers in Orange County that offer 3D mammography to all of our patients. And The difference is that when we take a 2D mammogram, now, one step backwards, all of our mammography is digital. So that's the first assumption, is that we don't perform film mammography in the majority of our centers. And once you are having a digital mammogram, the experience to the patient for a 2D typical digital mammogram is the same. Patient comes in, has the breast compressed from top to bottom and from side to side on each side, and we take a picture that we then read on a specialized computer screen. When you have a 3D mammogram, in addition to taking that standard 2D picture, the machine also takes a series of little slices so that instead of just looking at the book from top to bottom when we look at your breast tissue, we can look at that book and see if we see anything, and then we can look through the pages of that book. So the machine will reconstruct thin little slices for us so that we can try and see if anything is hiding in that breast tissue that we might not see when we look at just a 2D mammogram. Now, as you can imagine, in a patient that does not have dense breast tissue, a 2D mammogram may be perfectly sufficient. On the other hand, in a patient that has very dense breast tissue, the 3D mammogram can, in some patients, allow us to see something that the 2D mammogram may have covered with normal tissue. So it's a wonderful tool that we have. It is not something that every patient absolutely has to have in order to have a good mammogram done, but it's something that we use in either dense-breasted patients or sometimes to look at a specific area that we're concerned about, and it has proved amazingly helpful. It can also reduce what we call a callback. We talked earlier about how when you have a screening mammogram, sometimes we have to have people come back for extra pictures of a particular area. In most cases, that extra visit tends to turn out to be normal. So what we were looking at initially was not a true abnormality, but a possible density, for example, that when we looked at that particular area with special pictures turned out to be okay. With the 3D screening mammogram, if we look at those slices before we make a decision, we might be able to say, oh, that isn't anything from the beginning, and save that patient a second visit. The second visit tends to cause patients a lot of worry and anxiety. They're very happy when they're told that that second visit turned out to be normal, but we would love to prevent the second visit in the first place. And 3D mammography allows us to do that in many patients.
My name is Dr. Mark Gown. I'm a plastic and reconstructive surgeon. I work with a group called BreastLink. We do all the reconstructive surgery after breast cancer care for that group. I also work with an entity called Finesse Plastic Surgery. We do all manner of reconstructive plastic surgery as well as cosmetic. My training is from New Orleans, Louisiana. I went to Tulane for medical school, and then I did residencies in general surgery, trauma, and critical care at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles. Then I finished my plastic surgery training at the Methodist Hospital in Houston. So after a complete mastectomy, we have several options of reconstruction. Mainly they fall into two arms, using either an implant-based reconstruction or tissue-based, or even a hybrid. So the vast majority of reconstructions now are done in stages. The first stage is actually to place a deflated tissue expander underneath the muscle beneath the skin of the resected breast. This starts out very flat and deflated, but it's a very firm outer shell of silicone that has an integrated port. Through this port, we do fills after the surgery, and we keep expanding it to rebuild the breast. Once that's in place and stretches the breast to appropriate dimensions, then we swap that out for a permanent implant. And the different types of implants we have are a saline implant that's a silicone shell filled with salt water. Then we have silicone gel implants, which are silicone shell filled with a jelly type of silicone, very soft and natural feeling. And then the newest implants to market are actually called gummy bear implants. They're cohesive gel. If you can see, they have a shape to them, so they're shaped like the anatomic breast, and they more closely mimic the shape of the tissue that's removed after a mastectomy. So with these new implants and the newer devices and techniques, we can get a very, very nice cosmetic result for an otherwise quite deforming surgery after mastectomy. The other type of surgeries involve tissue transfer from other parts of the body into the breast, mainly from the abdomen or the stomach, from the back, from the inner thigh, from the buttocks. And typically those are reserved for more complicated cases where the patient has to undergo additional therapy after mastectomy, such as radiation.
Hiring a realtor you trust is the first step in selling your home. Selecting an escrow company that can safeguard your money and personal information throughout the transaction is the next step. Escrow Options will guarantee the safety of your personal information and funds from the risks of wire fraud and cyber theft. Choose the escrow company that works for you. Escrow Options Group, protecting consumer assets in escrow since 2005.
And welcome back. Right now I'd like to welcome a couple guests from Alzheimer's Family Center that is up in Huntington Beach, and they are with the Mind and Memory program at Mission Hospital. I'd like to welcome first Linda Abbott. You are the Community Outreach Manager. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Dr. Cheryl Alvarez, you are the Director of the Outpatient Behavioral Health Program.
Yes, thank you.
And nice to have you here today. First, let's talk about what this program is, who you are as far as Alzheimer's Family Center, and how this came about. And I'm not sure who wants to talk about that first.
I'll start. So the Mind and Memory program is a partnership between the Alzheimer's Family Center and Mission Hospital in Mission Viejo. It's a very innovative program, the first of its kind in the country, and it's an intensive outpatient program that is for people who have both a memory issue of some kind, as well as a psych issue like depression, anxiety, or PTSD, or
so kind of both together.
Yes.
All right. And is that something that is more common in Alzheimer's patients? And are we talking specifically about Alzheimer's patients, or just people who have that sort of a memory problem that may not have been fully diagnosed for that?
We see a lot of different kinds of memory loss. So not just Alzheimer's disease. There's actually many forms of memory loss from different causes. But that is the common ground, is that there's both a memory issue as well as another challenge. And a challenge like depression is definitely a huge risk factor for this population.
Okay. So Linda, as far as what you do, as far as a community outreach, does that mean you go out and sort of work with other programs, getting the word out and saying that this is a resource that you can come upon and see if it's something that's going to work for you?
Yes, I speak with doctors, elder care communities, other agencies, and get the word out. It's a wonderful new resource in South Orange County.
Okay, how does someone, obviously you just said who the kind of folks you talk to, but what about the patients? Is this something then their care provider is going to talk about to them, and how do they kind of dovetail any kind of program they're on now or the help they're getting into this? Is it something that is that coexists with it? Is it covered through their insurance programs?
Yes, we're very excited because it's the first program that is covered by Medicare and most commercial insurance plans. So that's really exciting, and they don't have to stop other activities. In fact, we want them to continue other activities. They can come to our program up to 4 times a week, mornings or afternoons, based around their schedule.
And Cheryl, who benefits from this program, or I should say what type of benefits that these patients can utilize, because there could be certain stages that they've kind of passed that threshold.
Everyone benefits, right? So both the patient who's experiencing some memory loss, their caregivers or spouses who need a little bit of time to themselves. And so this is an opportunity for those people to go and be in a social environment, to work with a professional staff, to discuss and talk about things that are difficult maybe to talk about with their families. Most of the patients in our program are very mild in terms of their memory issues. So they're engaging in group psychotherapy, they're working one-on-one with a therapist, they see a psychiatrist, And so it has to be early enough for them to be able to do that. But treating the depression is such a big priority for us because depression is one of the risk factors, as I said earlier, that can actually progress a memory loss issue much faster, or can put someone at higher risk for actually developing one.
Yeah, and what about any kind of medications that they may be taking? Your program, is it more about kind of talking about it and getting one-on-one with the right help you might need, or do you involve medications as well?
If indicated, we would involve medications. So, and that would either be done with their existing doctor, psychiatrist, or it could be done through ours as well.
Okay, and Linda, you had mentioned before we got on that you work with adult day programs. Is that correct? So is this sort of your version of it, or you work with local adult day programs?
An adult day program is different than who we are. We're a half-day program. Adult day healthcare is usually a full-day program.
Okay.
Our partner is Alzheimer's Family Center in Huntington Beach, which is the only dementia-specific adult day health program in Orange County.
Okay. And do people who sign up for this program, do they go to the one in Huntington Beach, or do they go to Mission Hospital that's right up the road here?
Mission Hospital.
Okay. All right. Now, as far as how often? Daily, couple times a week?
We recommend people go at least 3, but sometimes people go 4 times a week.
Okay.
Half days. And we also provide free round-trip transportation door to door anywhere in Orange County.
Okay, very good. Now, as far as memory screenings go, Cheryl, how do you go about that? And is this something that would be through their care provider, or anyone who says, you know what, I want to be screened for memory loss?
Yeah, so memory screening, it's very exciting. It's actually a new service that we're offering for the community, that anyone can come in and just receive a memory screening. We offer it on the
first Friday of every month.
Every month. Thank you, Linda. Yes.
Okay.
And so people can call, they can make an appointment, come down to Mission at our center, and receive a free memory screening that will help determine whether the kinds of experiences they're having with their memory are normal, or that they might be indicative of some further evaluation.
Okay.
You know, it's interesting because we all go to our annual checkups for our eyes, our ears, our bodies, but we forget to check our brain. And that's the engine behind everything.
Right.
So it's really, really important to do that.
Yeah, very much so. Now, for something like that or anything, call the number, and the number's on the screen. It's 949-364-4203 for this program. And by the way, the website's on there as well, missionforhealth.com, mind and memory. And from there, you can kind of see what the kind of programs are available, what kind of help they may or may not need.
Absolutely.
Very good. Now, one other question, just to clarify, if they are on some other program or something that's being done with their own physician, that's something that would be incorporated with this? You would work hand in hand with them, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'd want to stick with their team of providers, work with their physician. Some of our patients also attend other programs or go to adult day healthcare as well, and that can be integrated as well.
Okay, very good. Nice to have you both on.
Thank
you so much.
And again, if you think you might benefit from this, give them a call, 949-364-4203. And then the website is missionforhealth.com/mind and memory. We'll be right back. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brian Rott, President and CEO of Cartmart here in Laguna Woods. My family's been in the golf cart business since 1959, and we win our customers over with the simple belief of we treat you right. We are proud to be the authorized dealer for Club Car here in Orange County and your go-to source for the sales and service to other major brands. We're conveniently located on El Toro Road, just minutes from Laguna Woods. So come by and see for yourself, while when doing business with Cartmart, there's no reason to go anywhere else.
Well, about every couple years or so, we have a changing of the guard, so to speak, with the Orange County Fire Authority Public Information Officer. And today I have their newest one on, who just took over a few weeks ago, Anthony Barmarito, Captain Anthony Barmarito. And of course, Steve Concialdi is here as well, because Steve kind of still comes back and fills in when you can. So welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here,
yeah,
Steve. Good to see you. We saw
Steve
just, was it a week ago? A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, during the Aliso fire.
Yeah, during the Aliso fire. First, let's get to know you. What has been your current station over the last few years, and how'd you get on board with this?
So first, you have to call me Tony.
Okay.
Because only my mom calls me Anthony.
Okay. Right.
So, I've been a fireman for 28 years. Last 11 years, I've been in the city of Irvine. I've been a captain paramedic now for probably just over 21 years.
Okay.
So loved working in Irvine. I actually grew up there, went to high school there, so that's kind of where
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I worked a lot of stations in Irvine, so that's where I've been for the last few years.
Very good. So this opportunity came about, and of course the captain before you was Larry Kurtz.
Yeah.
And did he contact you, or you just saw this position opening up?
So about 2 years ago, well, maybe 3 years ago, we started what we call a relief PIO. It just became too much for one guy.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so
Steve, yeah.
so when Steve first got in, he didn't have the ability to have those backup PIOs.
Yeah.
So he was at 24/7, which makes it super hard on your family, your kids, your wife. So they started the relief PIO position. So these guys would come in and fill in on weekends or in major incidents, just to kind of give the main PIO relief. So that's what I've been doing for about the last 2.5 years. So I just enjoyed it. So I just decided to go for the full-time position.
Yeah, and of course, over the last 3 weeks that you've kind of taken over, 3-4 weeks, we've had, let's see, the Aliso fire. We've had several spot fires. We had one over just a few days ago. I think it was Live Oak Canyon.
Yeah.
So you've been busy.
Explosion in Aliso Viejo.
Yeah, the explosion.
That was the
in Aliso
second
Viejo.
day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the fires we don't like, but unfortunately they're common. That was really out of the ordinary.
Yeah. So and that was different. That with the fires, we're always fighting Mother Nature.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing for us. That Aliso Viejo fire took off because of the winds. There's just really erratic winds inside that canyon. So that made it worse. We had those air assets on it, so that made it, or helped us a lot in attacking that fire. But fires, I've had some media guys tell me that they haven't seen, or they've seen me more than they've seen a lot of PIOs in a year, just with these last few incidents.
Yeah, and what I've noticed, Steve, is over the years, and we've talked about this, how the air attack is so much quicker now than what it used to be. As I mentioned just last week, I forget what day it was, Thursday maybe, there was, I went over to my wife's school and just cleaning up after the season, after the school year. All of a sudden I look up and I go, wow, there's smoke. And as we mentioned, sometimes it's hard to see it, notice where it is. It turns out it was right over by Live Oak Canyon, about that area. But it was just the air attack. There were at least two fixed wings that I saw. There was, I think, 3 helicopters coming in. There might have been more, that's what I saw, but they took care of it very quickly.
Wednesday night, Live Oak Canyon,
Yes.
There was a roadside start by O'Neill Park, and that fire quickly ran towards the homes.
Yeah.
So we had Orange County Fire's helicopter as well as the sheriff's helicopter, and they each made about 5 drops on the fire, as well as the air tankers. 2 air tankers came in from CAL FIRE, made 4 significant retardant drops, and kept that fire away from the homes.
Yeah, that was, do you know how that started yet? Or
It's still under investigation, just like a lot of these recent fires.
Yeah, all right. So it's nice to see, unfortunately, this is a fact of life now. and it's great to see the response by all the different agencies and how they're coming together. So that's
the Aliso
wonderful.
fire, when I came on Friday, that was right after the week after that fire, it was still under investigation. That night, it was finally determined. Our investigators did an outstanding job, just talking to witnesses, other people, gathering photos and video, and it was determined to be an accidental fire started by a juvenile. But again, it was an accidental cause, and but it was great investigation work, and now we know that that wasn't suspicious, it wasn't arson, it was an accident.
Yeah. If there's just one more thing I could add, I just want to remind everyone, we don't have a designated fire season anymore. It used to be May to December.
Yeah.
Because we live in the desert, there is no rain, we have a year-round fire season, so that's pretty significant.
Yeah, so great response in all of these. Now we're going to get into a subject that is sad, and it's sad because drownings are usually 100% preventable. And just recently we had a couple that were, one was definitely a high profile one. And I know you folks put together this training video, and we have it on in the background here, but let's talk about these statistics. And so far this year, we're going to bring up a slide in just a moment. 2018, there's been 22 total incidents, and I think out of that, 13 have been fatal. 13 or 14? Yeah, 13. It's most of the time they're preventable. I understand somebody may go, even a strong swimmer could get caught in a rogue wave out in the ocean somewhere, but especially the pool ones are preventable.
Right, and that's why Orange County Fire stresses the ABCs of water safety. That A is active supervision at all time, barriers to have some sort of isolation fence or safety fence separating the house from the pool or the spa, and then C for classes. Teach your children how to swim and teach CPR. The high profile one you were saying was very tragic. You know, both Tony and I worked on that, and it just was a small, child, 19-month-old, just was with her mom. And mom was just talking to a neighbor, and quickly that daughter got out of her sight. They're drawn towards the water. The daughter went in the backyard where there was nobody there, and somehow she got into the water. It was extremely tragic.
Along those lines, is there, because I don't really know the answer to this, is there a code where you have to have a safety fence around your pool, or new pools or existing ones? I honestly don't know that.
So there are 7 things, and you have to have 2 of the 7. Okay. And that is a newer code. It used to be 1. So over the years, when you put in a pool, like in your spa in your backyard, you had to have an alarm or some alert, or you could have a cover over it or a fence. And the building inspector would check that off.
Right.
So now the new law is 2 out of 7 items, safety items. But again, it's hard to enforce that. When the pool or the spa is just put in, that's checked off. But after that, it's on the owner of the residence to maintain that.
Okay, yeah, I didn't realize that. And I know how when we moved into our home, we have a little corner spa, and there was no fence around it. And once my daughter was born, and I think she was about 9 months old, I'm trying to think when we put it in, that's when my father-in-law and I put one in. And it still stands. It's a little rusted in certain areas. She's 11 and a half now, but it's still there. And we made sure we put that in right away.
Yeah, and so that's one of the problems is when we get these pools installed and the safety devices put in, a lot of times people remove them just because they feel like they're inconvenient. And I'll be honest with you, I have a pool in my backyard and a safety fence put in. When my kids grew up, they knew how to swim. I removed that safety fence. But now my wife babysits my niece that's 8 months old. She's not really crawling yet, but we put that gate up, that fence up every time she's there, just in case.
So you have one of those, I know there's like these portable kind of ones.
Yeah, so they go in poles that are set in the concrete. So it takes me about 3 or 4 minutes to set up. It's a self-closing gate. We don't have to worry about it. Problem solved.
Yeah, those are good to have. And the main thing is, though, right now what you brought on here is the water watch tags, and how important these are when you have a family gathering or your kids have a pool party or something like that.
Yeah, and we're just asking, if you do have a party in your backyard or you have people over, there'd be a designated water watcher, somebody that wears this, and their sole responsibility is for those 15 or 20 minutes to watch the water, because it happens so quick. Children drown without a sound, like we say every year. This child that went into the pool, nobody heard her. There was no screaming or yelling that anybody heard. And so that's why they're so tragic, because they can be prevented. And so if we could save one life, it is worth it. But we've always talked about, it's not only the young.
Right, I mean, looking at the statistics.
Well, the stats
here
for like 2017, for the adults that are 50 years and older, out of the 42 fatal drownings that we had for the entire year, 22 were adults 50 years or older.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And those are people that are swimming alone, or in a backyard spa or their pool alone, or they're in their bathtub and there's nobody around. And they either have a medical emergency, they get lightheaded or dizzy, low blood sugar, or something happens, or they get fatigued. And if there's nobody there to help you and raise your head above water, then you're going to drown.
Yeah, yeah, and that is a remarkable statistics, because most people, if you said, well, what's the highest percentage, and they're going to go little kids, well, I'm looking at least what you sent me the other day on 2018. Right now, the highest statistic is 65 and older as far as fatals. In incidents, it's incredible.
Yeah, so we assume that we all know how to swim at 65, and that's usually the case. But what happens is we have medical emergencies.
Yeah.
So as we get older, so that's the importance of always having a partner or somebody there while you're swimming.
Yeah.
And that bring up another fact with that water watcher tag. That's a good thing to wear at a party. And we definitely ask that the person that's responsible for watching the water is not drinking. We always try to say alcohol does not mix with swimming.
Right.
So if you can't, if everybody is some reason partaking in the party, you can hire a lifeguard. And,
you can.
Yeah, again, and that's problem solved.
Yeah, and that's, I know more and more people are doing that, especially if they're having a large party, especially a kid's pool party. And they're going out and doing that. There's lots of services, and you know, all the money that you might spend on the party favors, on the food, spending an extra $100, $150 to have a lifeguard there for whatever hours it is, you know.
It's worth it. Peace of mind.
It is well worth it.
Yeah.
And they can even get, like they do in a lot of the local pools in our area, they have their safety break, and they go, everybody out of the pool. It doesn't matter how old you are, you're out of the pool. Of course, it gives the lifeguard a little bit of a break, but it's a great way to clear everything, make sure everything's all right, and yeah. So I would recommend that. Now here we have lifeguards in this community, but if you know somebody, some family friends that are looking forward to some big pool party or whatever it might be, look into that, because it's really well worth the cost.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world, and it's just very easy. It's one phone call away.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, Tony. It's a pleasure to meet you. I know I'm going to be seeing you a lot
hopefully
more.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I'm sure you will be.
And interesting fact, during the 1993 Laguna fire, Tony was one of the first engines that arrived on that scene.
Wow.
And they saved a number of homes.
Wow, that's incredible.
Long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've been with the fire authority for how many years?
I've been 28 years.
28 years.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you on. It's
Thanks,
great.
man.
Steve, I know one way or another we always see Steve again.
Yeah.
And we also bring on a lot of other great people from the Orange County Fire Authority throughout the year, and they talk about specific things. And we're always thankful that you guys come on. So, you guys, you women too. Alexa, I know she's in the back there, right?
Right. Yeah, she is.
Well, she comes on now and then as well, Alexa Pratt. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Looking for a change of scenery? You don't have to play golf to enjoy all that 19 Restaurant and Lounge has to offer. From a delicious breakfast menu to our delectable lunch and dinner specials. At 19 Restaurant and Lounge, there is something for everyone. Relax with your friends and family and take in the beautiful view from our spacious patio. Or enjoy a cocktail and appetizer in our lounge. 19 Restaurant and Lounge is a great place to socialize, enjoy a meal, or simply take in the view. Join us 7 days a week and experience Laguna Woods' exclusive dining experience.
Hi, it's Desiree from Irvine Subaru, where families come first. As a family-ran dealership, your family's safety is our #1 priority. Come in and find the perfect Subaru from the largest selection of Subarus in Orange County. All models are top safety picks by the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety. We offer the ideal balance of safety, performance, and economy. Irvine Subaru, more Subarus, more safety, more performance, more love.
And our movie coming up today is called Swing Away. This stars Shannon Elizabeth and John O'Hurley. And it's all about a LPGA golfer, and she has a meltdown on the course. In fact, while she's putting, she misses just a short little putt, and actually I think afterwards kind of throws her club. So her name, by the way, is Zoe Papadopoulos, and she travels, after this happens, she travels to her grandparents' village in Greece to escape the harsh spotlight of the international sports world. Now, between baking bread and eating baklava, she meets and mentors a 10-year-old girl who's inspired to become a golfer one day. Against all odds, she helps her out. Along the way, she rediscovers her Greek heritage, her love of the game, and the hidden strength within herself as she inspires the townspeople in an epic showdown against a greedy American developer. This came out in 2016. It runs 98 minutes, and it does not, despite what you see there, the movie itself, we did not get a version that has subtitles. There are some subtitles in the movie when they are speaking Greek, but beyond that, we didn't get an actual subtitled version. It may be it's not available, but that's the one that it was given to us. And as I said, there are some subtitles when they're speaking Greek. So that will be on today at 2 and then at 6 o'clock. Now, our Friday movie is a very different movie. It is a documentary, and this is all about Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho movie, specifically the shower scene, and it's called 2852. I'm not sure why it's probably, that was probably scene 78 or something like that. I don't know where the numbers come from, but it goes into depth on how this was created, how they pulled it off, because it was really a groundbreaking scene for a lot of reasons. This will be on Friday and runs about 90 minutes. It will run it at 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock, the documentary Hitchcock's Shower Scene, coming up on Friday. So that should be really interesting. Again, I'm not sure what 7852 means. I have a feeling it was probably the scene number or something like that within the movie. All right, a lot of movies coming up for you. Boy, we're almost into July. And one of them that's a really good movie that I saw at the end of July, A Wrinkle in Time, which is based on the famous book. It stars Oprah Winfrey and Storm Reed and Reese Witherspoon. Fantasy movie, fantasy family movie, and that'll be at the end of July. We'll tell you more about that as we get closer to that date. I do want to tell you what's coming up, though. On Saturday, the Hula Club is having a wonderful hula Hokai fundraiser, and they are going to have everything you could possibly want at a hula show. They'll have crafts for sale. They're going to raffle off items. They'll have a hula show, wonderful menu of great Hawaiian dishes. It's $25 per person, and it's going to be held at Clubhouse 2 coming up Saturday. Doors open at 5:30 and dinner is at 6, and then the hula show will be at 7 o'clock. So if you are interested, stop by Clubhouse 2. I think you can get your tickets there. And this looks like a lot of fun. I think they do this every summer, but lots of stuff going on here for the great food and the show, and you can buy crafts, all kinds of neat things. Coming up Saturday, June 30th at Clubhouse 2. Now, today, the Tea Party Sentinels will be having their monthly meeting. It is over at Clubhouse 7. Doors open at 6:30, and then the meeting will begin at 7 o'clock. Their guest speaker this time around is, he's from New Zealand, and has done several kind of talks for the Tea Party in the past. His name is Trevor Loudon, and he's written a couple books, and one of his books is called Enemies Within. So we'll have a talk and then open for questions afterwards. Again, the doors open at 6:30 and the meeting begins at 7. There is no cost for this. If you want to make a donation when you get there, you certainly can today at Clubhouse 7 at 6:30. Now, one thing I do want to remind you on, this is a great service that the city does along with waste management. It's a bulky item pickups. You know, you're not supposed to take out your big, bulky, heavy items and just throw them out by the dumpster. I really don't want that to be happening. So there's a number to call, Resident Services, and they can help you arrange for a bulky item pickup. And the number is 949-597-4600. And this, of course, would be like mattresses and old furniture and things like that, that Waste Management will arrange a time to come up and pick it up. Again, please do not put these out by the dumpsters. That is a no-no, and there is a great service that you can take advantage of. It doesn't cost you anything. All right, what doesn't cost you anything is watching our good movies, as I told you about, and also our great weather. I love this weather, as you can see looking outside right now. If you're watching this in the morning, we're getting the burn off a little bit quicker today. I have 77. If anything, it's going to be that or maybe a couple degrees warmer. This week, the same thing we had last week, a little bit of variation day to day in the temperature, but again, the morning clouds, the marine layer that comes in, it then subsides around mid-morning, and we have a beautiful day, and then they kind of trail back in about 7:30 or so, as you've seen. So great weather, June gloom morning, and then later in the evening, but spectacular days. Around Orange County today, beaches are going to be about 68. Everywhere else in the upper 70s to low 80s. So yeah, go out and enjoy the pools today. And you know, you got a few days left to get down to Laguna before all the art festivals start. If you want to go down there and still kind of have it to yourself, I would suggest it this week. You got beautiful weather for that. All right, we will see you tomorrow. We're going to have on Dr. Kim from Harvard Eye Associates. Then someone's coming on from the, he's the chief gerontologist with something called GrandPad, and then also the Lion Air Museum, Martin Aviation. We're going to have a guest on from there, which is a great place to go, by the way. We'll be back tomorrow. See you then.